Hey, everybody. My name is Chantel Millen, and welcome to the About That podcast. This is a place where we'll talk about Christ, crafts, marriage, and a little bit of everything in between, I'm sure. I'll give you a brief disclaimer that this is our first podcast. I had been thinking about doing this for a while and just finally got to a place where I just said, just hit the button. Just do it. Just record the first one. Get it out the way. Script, no script, all the things, but just needed to give it a go. So thanks for joining me. I'm excited about the future of this podcast and just, getting to interact with you and just, seeing what the Lord would have for this platform. And so with all of that said, I just quickly wanted to share something that the Lord had placed on my heart a few weeks ago. And actually, I say a few weeks ago, it was only like 2 weeks ago. But anyway, hopefully it'll bless your heart. I was thinking about just situations that sometimes we're in life. And oftentimes when we're in various situations, we will pray for strength. We'll ask the Lord for strength. And that is obviously something that we should do. That's the right thing to do. But at one point, as I was actually preparing for a sermon, the Lord kind of shared with me that oftentimes we ask Him for strength, but we don't always ask Him for strategy. And so when He said that, I was like, man, that makes sense. Like, oftentimes I'll say, Lord, give me strength for that, give me strength for this, etc. But I don't recall equally as often saying, Lord, also give me strategy, right? Show me how this should be done, when to do it, how to do it, who to do it with, etc. And so in that conversation, I'm always like, Lord, will show me where it's at in the Bible so I can make sure and validate it and give the message correctly. And He took me to a couple places that I'm going to give you and hope that it will just be an encouragement to you in whatever season you find yourself in life. The first place is Nehemiah chapter 4, starting at verse 13. I won't read through it, but if you'll go there, Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 13. In this, you find that they are rebuilding the wall. And as they are trying to rebuild it, Sanballat and all his people are essentially just trying to come against Nehemiah, bullying him, trying to tell him it's not going to happen. We're going to attack, we're going to destroy it, etc. And so as they're getting further into the building of the wall, Sanballat and his army are seeing that they're making progress, right? But even in the middle of the progress, Nehemiah's own people are coming to him and being like, hey, Sanballat's doing this. They're preparing to do this, that, and the other. And I know sometimes even in our own life, we got stuff going on and we'll have people in our ear trying to tell us what other people are saying or what other people are doing. And so in the midst of that, Nehemiah goes to the Lord. He gives it over to the Lord. And we see that as we get a little further through chapter 4, that the Lord gives Nehemiah strategy. And that strategy was to place certain people at certain places in the wall, exposed places, weak places, places to protect the families wherever they were located. But the part that spoke to me even more was that there were some that were designated to fight. There were others that were designated to work, but then there were some who would work and fight. So they were like carrying materials in one hand and they had their sword in the other hand. And that is, for me, the way that I almost see life is I'm doing both. Like at any time, you're going to find me working for the Lord, fighting in the spirit against the enemy, etc. Serving this, that, and the other. But also my sword is always in hand, right? You're always able to recall what it is that the Lord is saying, what He has said through His word or a song or whatever. But either way, He gave him strategy to make sure that the work got done, but that they were also able to defend themselves from the attack of the enemy. And so through that, they're able to get the wall rebuilt, right? And so then He took me to John 21. And in John 21, common, familiar story, it's the story where they are fishing. They're out fishing. This is their livelihood. And they've been out there all day and haven't caught anything, right? And in my head, I'm thinking, man, that's gotta, being in especially if they're in the summer. Like, I used to fish growing up with my dad, but we would go out like early in the morning before the sun got too hot, right? Like 6 in the morning, whatever fish by 11, 12, we're home because it's just too hot to be outside. Well, they've been out all day, right? So they've been out fishing all day and they've caught nothing. And so with that being his livelihood, you don't fish, you don't eat. Like literally, you don't fish, you don't make money. Like you don't have livelihood. You don't receive anything in. And so he's fishing all day and nothing. Well, here comes Jesus, and they weren't aware it was him at the time. But he asked, like, hey, even though he knew, right? But I love the Lord because he participates in conversation with us. He says, hey, have y'all caught anything? And he was like, nah. And he goes, cast the net on the other side. And when they did that, it says that they caught in so much that like the nets began to break. And so as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, man, like that's amazing. And the reason why it was amazing to me is because the Lord did not say, you got the wrong boat, right? You need a more expensive boat. You got the wrong type of nets. You need to go buy new nets. You got the wrong team, right? You got the wrong people with you. You need to get a new staff. You need to get some different people. That's why it's not working. You're on the wrong side of the sea or of the lake or whatever. Like you need to take the boat to the other side. All he said was, just change your posture. Just change your direction. Like instead of casting this way, cast it this way. That's it, right? And you're gonna find fish. And as I thought about that, I said, man, Lord, that for me, again, I'm thinking sometimes in our life, it's not that there are major changes that need to be made in order for a thing to work. There's something in our life that's like, this thing is not working, it's not panning out. Like, I'm just going to do a massive overhaul, right? I'm just going to change everything. Sometimes it's just one thing, just one minor shift that if we would consult the Lord, he would tell us what that shift is and it would make everything work. But oftentimes we're so in our own head about it that it's like, if I can't make it work, then I'm going to scrap the whole thing. Some of us right now have ideas that we've been trying to implement and it's not working. And we're just ready to throw in the towel on the whole thing. And the Lord is trying to say, hey, before you do that, just shift this one thing, right? Just this one minor change and everything else will fall into place. But in order to get that information, we have to go to him and ask, Lord, thank you for your strength, right? To get through or to be in whatever the situation is. But also, I need your strategy to make sure that I'm operating in is operating efficiently. It's operating according to your will. I'm not wasting time. I'm not wasting resources, right? Because he can give us strategy that preserves everything, that ensures we don't waste time. We don't waste energy. We don't waste resources. Like, we don't waste ideas, like all the things, if we would just like ask him. You know what I mean? The last one, Exodus 18, great story. It talks about Moses and how he is handling everybody's stuff. Every issue, no matter how big, no matter how small, they're coming to Moses and he is spending all day handling everybody's stuff, right? And his father-in-law actually comes in and he's like, hey, just a little bit of advice. Perhaps you should consider training your men so that when your people have these minor issues, they can bring them to those that you've trained and they can make the decisions, etc., right? Because you've trained them, so they're going to decide in the way that you've trained them to decide. And then the big stuff, they can bring it to you, right? Which when you think about it, it's like, that makes so much more sense. Again, it's so much more efficient. It saves you energy. It saves you time, right? It allows you to focus as leader on the things that you need to focus on because you've now delegated and empowered other people to be a part of the process, the ministry, if you will, for those of you who might feel like you're having to do it all by yourself. And it could be that maybe you have some people that could help. We just might have to take a little bit of time to train them, right? And I even hear myself as I'm saying that because my personality can oftentimes be, I just want to get it done, right? And just do it. When in reality, God is saying, hey, like there are people who can help you. You just need to take some time to train them so that they can help you, right? You train them and release them, and they'll be of great help, great assistance. And so as I looked through all three of these stories, I saw myself, and I said, man, Lord, I'm grateful because you are the type of God who loves us so much that when we're in situations where we do just need the strength to endure, we just need the strength to get through it, you can give us that. But oftentimes there are situations where decisions need to be made. Things do actually need to be done. And in those situations, you don't just give us strength and then leave us out there in hopes that we get it right. But you will not only give us strength, but you can also give us strategy so that we make the right decisions. And again, those decisions help us to be efficient, to save time, to save energy, and to save and protect resources, which is all a part of good stewardship, right? And so I pray that as you've just heard these few minutes, go through, read those scriptures, I pray that you would be encouraged and know that the Lord wants to give you that. If it's in your business, if it's in your ministry, if it's in your family, your friends, whatever part of your life that you are just like, man, I need some strategies to make some decisions and make sure that things are happening the way that the Lord wants them to happen. Ask him. We have 3 examples where he will give you strength, but he will also give you strategy. So until next time, comment, like, subscribe. Let me know if there's other subjects, topics, things you want to talk about, or if this message just blessed you in today and in whatever part of life you find yourself in. I'll look forward to reading those comments and again, just seeing where the Lord would take us in our time together with this new podcast. So until next time, this is About That, and that's a wrap. Have a blessed day.